It was actually a last minute decision for me to join Finding Your Voice last year. When I heard about it, it sounded like a great initiative, but I hadn't been asked to speak at any Christmas events, so I didn't prioritize it. And I thought I had a clash anyway. But as the date got closer, I realized I was free. And even though I didn't have anything lined up to speak at, I thought, you know what? I'm sure this will be really good training, and who knows how God might use it in future. So I signed up. Since I didn't have a specific event to draft a talk for, and I'd left it pretty late, I decided to write my testimony of how I came to faith, and I put a Christmas wrapper around it, so to speak. Although I've done a fair amount of public speaking, I'd never given the main talk at an evangelistic event before. So this felt like new ground, and I was definitely out of my comfort zone. I'm so thankful that I went to Finding Your Voice. First of all, just being in a room full of women who want to glorify Jesus and help others know him, that in itself is incredibly encouraging. It's not every day you're with so many women from different parts of the country who are willing to put themselves out there like that. And the fact that experienced speakers and communicators had given up their Saturday to focus on building us up and equipping us for evangelistic speaking was also amazing. But the most empowering part for me was the chance to give my talk in a small group. It was also the most nerve-wracking part, not knowing how people would respond to what I was going to share and not knowing what other people's talks would be like. But it turned out that I really didn't have anything to worry about. I happened to be put in a lovely group of five ladies, and it turned out I knew two of them. It was such a friendly, kind, encouraging, and safe atmosphere. I loved listening to the other three ladies' talks, and I really appreciated how God uses our unique personalities and backgrounds to communicate and connect with people. There's a line I remember James Robson shared on the day. You're the only you that God has. It really came across in how each of the talks was so different and reflected our own personalities and experiences, but ultimately shared the same amazing gospel. We encouraged each other and offered some feedback to make the talks even better. After I gave my talk, I felt really affirmed and supported by these other wonderful women. It was such a blessing. Amazingly, one of the ladies in my group was actually the women's and outreach worker at my church. At the end of the day, she asked if I'd give my talk at the women's Christmas event she was organising called Baubles and Bubbles. As the name suggests, women are invited to decorate Christmas baubles and enjoy nibbles and drinks. It was a privilege to be asked, and I felt able to do it because I'd already had that dry run at Finding Your Voice, along with encouragement and clear pointers on what to improve. So that group time was invaluable. Afterwards, I worked on my talk further and practiced it more and felt fairly confident that it would be appropriate and meaningful for the women I'd be speaking to. Actually giving the talk at Baubles and Bubbles was a great learning experience for me as well. I felt vulnerable sharing the journey God had led me on, but Finding Your Voice helped remind me that it is a spiritual battle. I really appreciated Christy Mayr's honesty. She was one of the speakers on the day, and how she shared that she reminds herself of God's love for her and God's love for the people she's speaking to, and that it really is a privilege to get to speak and point people to Jesus. So thank you again, Nay, Oak Hill, and the rest of the team for putting it on. If you're thinking about joining this year, I'd really encourage you to take advantage of the opportunity. You don't need to feel ready or even have anything lined up to speak at. God can use it and use you in ways maybe you don't expect.